Hey, what's up, everybody? Today is Wednesday, April 15th, and today we're going to look at two-way tables. Not frequency tables, but just regular tables. We got a couple learning targets here for us. Number one, I can distinguish between categorical and numerical data, so basically knowing the definition of both. And then the second one is I can summarize and interpret categorical data using a two-way frequency table. So let's take a look, shall we? First thing we need to know is what does numerical data and what does categorical data actually mean? Well, numerical is exactly what you think it is. It's a number. So it's data that can be tracked by saying, like, here's a number. And then categorical data is data that are names or labels. So, you label something either with a number or with a name. So let's look at some examples here. Determine if the data is numerical or categorical. So if somebody's weight, right? Like if I asked a person, how would you describe your weight? You would typically say in, pounds or kilograms or whatever. So a weight is numerical. Okay. Let's see. Profession. Okay, well, what is your profession? I teach. Okay, so that's a name, right? So that would be categorical. All right, a favorite restaurant. Categorical, you would name it, right? And then lastly, the years of experience, that is numerical because it's in years. Now, one thing to consider is sometimes there is an overlap, right, of a numerical or categorical that will confuse students, right? So sometimes you'll see somebody that says, like, address. What's your home address? Okay, so I wanna be specific. When you're talking about numerical means like you can add or subtract, right? Like you can manipulate those numbers. But if I say address, what's your address? Well, if it's, let's say, 520, right? Like, yes, those are numbers, but those are numbers that describe the address. So they're almost more of a name. So if you said somebody's address, it's actually categorical. Okay, it's not like we're adding addresses together, but rather we're just labeling this is that person's address. Right. Anyways, getting onto tables, you got two-way tables that compare data from two disjoint variables, meaning that they cannot overlap. Example 1, use a two-way table to answer the following questions. A group of randomly selected students were surveyed on how frequently they played Dungeons and Dragons. All right, so question 1 says, how many girls play occasionally? So to answer this question, I'm going to look at girls in this two-way table that we have right here. I'm going to say of those girls, so we have 16 total girls, how many play occasionally? So girls play occasionally, 12. Okay. What does the number 40 represent in the table? 16, 8, 24. You can see 40 is all the way at the bottom. Notice it's lined up with the total. So it's the total. Boys are 24, girls are 16. It is the total people surveyed. Okay. How many students play daily? All right. So it doesn't say how many boys, it doesn't say how many girls, but rather it says how many students, right? So it just wants to know total number of students that play daily. Well, there's 16 boys plus the 4 girls gives you a total 20 students daily. And what does the number 8 represent? Okay, so we have this number 8 up here. And if you look, it coincides with boys and play occasionally. So 8 boys play Dungeons and Dragons occasionally. Okay, moving on. Example 2, construct a two-way table from the following information. Jenna randomly selected 16 boys and 24 girls and asked them whether they preferred dogs, cats, or other pets. She lost some of her data but recorded what she knew in the table below. What kind of data is this? Okay, so if we're talking about how many boys prefer dog as a pet, right? This is numerical, because we're comparing numbers, right? Can you help her finish the table and answer the questions below? Absolutely. So, key pieces of information, there's 16 total boys, 24 total girls. Okay, so boys is right here. So I have to have 16 total boys, and I have to have 24 total girls. Okay, that right off the bat, I already know if I add these two up, right? 6 plus 4 is 10, carry the 1, that gives me 40 total students surveyed. Okay, here's how you fill in the blanks. To get to 16, I gotta have 8 plus 7 plus this blank, right? Well, 8 plus 7 is 15. 15 plus 1 will get me to 16. So basically, when you're filling out a two-way table, if you recall from middle school, you're just filling in the blanks. I recommend trying to fill in the totals first, right? Okay, so this is supposed to be 24 going across, right? So if that's supposed to be 24, 4 plus 9 is 13. What am I missing? 11. 11 plus 9 is 20, plus 4 is 24. Okay, and then we're just going to add these down. So 8 plus 4 is 12. 7 plus 11 is 18. And 1 plus 9 is 10. Okay, so that's filling out a two-way table. Pretty easy, right? Okay, then there's some more key terms. It says that you have joint frequencies and marginal frequencies. Joint frequencies is data created by joining two categorical variables together. This is in the middle of the table. Marginal frequencies are the sum of the rows and the columns along the outside of the table. So below it says identify the joint and marginal frequencies. So as you notice, these are the tables from up above. This is example 1. This is example 2. Okay, so joint frequencies are anything that's inside the middle of the table. Okay, so that's the joint because you're joining together like boys and girls, or boys and like that, those two categorical things, right? And then same thing over here. So it's like you can think of it as like the center for numbers, right? That's joint frequencies. And then marginal frequencies, then, as you can see, are the ones that are out in the margin. Marginal frequencies. So like if you're reading a book, where's the margin? It's on the inside, right, or the outside. So the margins, or when you're writing in Microsoft Word, it always asks, it says, how wide do you want your margins? Do you want the words to go all the way to here? Do you want to make narrow, more narrow margins, so then the words have to cut off a little bit sooner and then continue in? They're the margins, they're the outsides. So same thing here. So your margins are your totals. Okay. All right, and that's it for today. We're going to keep it short and sweet. So talking about two-way tables. We'll talk about frequency tables on Friday, but tomorrow we have more practice. Make sure you know the difference between numerical and categorical data. Make sure you know the difference between the joint frequencies and the marginal frequencies and where to find them on the table, because that question will be asked. Fill out the exit ticket, turn it in.